Welcome back to another video here, and today we will be covering NFE, which is Ninja Farm NG, for Bloons Crash Course here. And have I covered everything? No, I haven't covered Ninja before, but I'm gonna do a quick overview of the engineer first. For our tier 1, we get sentry guns, which basically spawns 2 to 3 sentries at a time. And they have basically the same damage as a dart monkey. I think I have 1 more pierce. I'm gonna just cover the main upgrades right now. If you are curious about the other upgrades, you can either go into the game yourself, or you can go watch my Engineer Farm Spike Factory video, where I also cover the engineer. So the sentry gun 9-inch nails is also important, where it increases the pierce by 8, so you can pop 9 balloons at once. Faster engineering is also pretty important, as it increases the sentry spawn rate, so you can have 4 to 5 sentries at a time, which is very nice. Both the tier 3 upgrades are very important. Cleansing Foam removes camo, regen, and pop sleds, so that's going to be vital for like round 10, round 12, basically everything later on. Sprockets just increases the fire rate of sentries and the sentries. So that is good for like round 9 and 8 yellows. It can also help with round 11 whites, or even just general mob damage. And then round 4, for tier 4, we have Balloon Trap, which turns balloons into cash with a maximum of like, I think $350 total. And we have Overclock here, which allows a tower to be like 2 times damage, I think. Not 2 times damage, 2 times attack speed for 60 seconds. And here we go to the Ninja Monkey, which is going to be our primary damage dealer mid and late game. And for our tier 1, we get Ninja Discipline, which increases the attack range and speed. And then we have Seeking Shuriken, which automatically seeks out and pops balloons. So that's going to be pretty nice for consistent damage, especially against space balloons. And then we have tier 2, where we have Sharp Shurikens, which increases the pierce from 2 to 4, which is just generally pretty nice, especially if you're handling grouped balloons. And now we have Distraction, which sometimes, I think it's like every 4th balloon or something, distracts and basically blows back a single balloon. They did nerf it recently. They nerfed all the like blowback stuff. However, it's still pretty useful against like ceramics and insides of mobs and BFBs. And for tier 3, we get Double Shot, which just shoots 2 of the shurikens at once. So that's pretty useful for like mid game and early game. And next is Flash Bomb, which I think it's every 3rd shot. Could be wrong. It shoots out a like balloon impact type bomb, where it pops camos, leads, and stuns everything for a few seconds, and that's very nice. For our tier 4s, we get the Balloon Jutsu, which instead of 2 shurikens, it shoots 5. So this is going to be our main mob damage, and it's just going to be very, very nice to have as a consistent idea for defending. And now we have the ability, Sabotage Supply Lines, which slows down all the balloons, oncoming and current, for 15 seconds for half speed. And you guys know the farming already, so I'm just going to hop into a game with a subscriber actually. Poddick is his name. He said he was like T100 Prestige, so we should be expecting some decent gameplay here when we code him. And the goal of this video is not to give you guys like perfect NFE gameplay and trying to turn you into a perfect NFE player. It's just to give you something to begin your NFE journey and start to get a foundational support and begin your journey to improve. So if you have any comments or questions, just let me know in the comments. Okay. Generally good maps for this are one-way maps that are mid to like longish, I would say, and not really like this one. This one is kind of really awkward because of how the map is shaped, like baggage claims, but Sprinkler I would say is good because of the like loops and stuff, and that can be useful for later on where you're defending with a Jitsu. Rift can work, but I don't recommend it. I would recommend using Spike Factory or Heli, because Ninja can kind of get overrun quite easily. Mine is a two-way map, and this is also not good. Cards is a map that works with NFE, but I recommend playing something more sustainable if you're just starting out, because it is going to have a bit of a aggressive side. Park, two-way map. Temple, sometimes people play it, but it's a two-way map. I do not recommend. Sands, again. YBR, this is a pretty common map for NFE. Swamp, no, it's kind of annoying to have your Jitsu or Ninja popping the Bloons before they get to the Bloon trap, because that's just costing you money. So I'll start with Offside. This is just a general map for NFE and a lot of other strategies. You can face like Heli, Wizard, well, I guess you can find like Ninja Mortar or something. You can face Dartling or Dart. So yeah. So we usually start with an anti-stall. You can use this spot, or you can use this spot, or you can use the middle, or even people use like this area. All of these farmers, except for this one in the bottom left, are valid starting spots. They usually have the same idea of going for a sentry gun or a 9-inch nails to anti-stall. If you guys have seen my Engineer Farmer Spike factory video, then you should be pretty familiar with how this goes. Since this opponent is already sending us Bloons, I'm going for a double engineer start rather than going for a sentry gun so early. And now I should be able to go for a sentry guns. They're anti-stalling for us, so I'm not too worried about it right now. And that's actually pretty good. You can spam monkey farmers, because that will like isolate where you want the sentries to spawn, because they take up spots, if that makes sense. So you have the entire radius, and then those monkey farmers take up spots in that radius where the sentries can no longer spawn. So that's what you see some people like Lokesh or me doing in like competitive games, where we want to optimize our sentry spawning and get the most damage out of them. Here we're going to send some greens, just trying to force defense, because this strategy can get outlasted, and that is kind of the idea of it, where you drain your opponent and use that ninja with the stalling to actually either stall out your opponent and watch them die, or you can actually sometimes defend if you've drained them good enough. Our opponent here is running Heli Farm Glue, which is a valid strategy. It is kind of difficult if you're not experienced with it, which I don't actually know if our opponent is. So it's possibly not the greatest option for our opponent to pick, but it's okay. Since he just boosted, I'm going to layer yellows over the top. Don't worry too much about affording a Bloon trap. The upgrade alone is going to be about $4,000, but you're already investing a decent amount in defense. Our opponent isn't being very aggressive here, which is kind of icky, sketchy, I would say, but it's okay. I'm gonna buy a engineer. You usually want it for your Bloon trap to have like only a sliver of the map available in its range, so you can do two things. One, you can isolate the cleansing foam, so that can target leads very easily and consistently. Because if you have it like in the middle right here and you have a lead getting by, your cleansing foam doesn't have to place it where the lead is, it can spawn all the way over here, and you sometimes can die to that because of it, because you're low on lives and your cleansing foam isn't consistent. Okay, can afford Bloon Trap now. Sometimes people rush with camo like pinks or camo yellows on round 12, especially when you're kind of low on lives or you're not very well farmed. And that is because they are trying to choke you and hoping that you have a Spike Factory third instead of a ninja or even a heli pilot, or something similar that has actual camo detection and a decent attack speed. Our opponent definitely could be farming way better here, and I could definitely be more aggressive, so I think I will be. We're going to send some layered rushes here. Sometimes you want to send more aggressive than this, but it's okay. I sent Blues there just to try and get some of his Pierce blocked. But I guess he was able to defend, which is good on him. I could bank up. Usually you actually want to go for a factory, but I think this game is going pretty late, so I'm going to bank. Our opponent isn't banking, which is kind of obscure. If I'm able to get some boosts off of him, that is going to be wonderful. So maybe I could rush, but I do want to get my bank and BIA before him. He's getting his BIA? Question mark? No, he's just banking. Okay, so I'm going to be able to forward mine this round. I already can, but I want to wait till the end of the round, just before it ends, to get that extra income from the interest of the round. Not interest, but like the max amount of money from the farms. And now we can go. So we have 2,000 on hand. We can send a Moab. Hopefully this works. Our opponent could be buying a bit more defense than this. Typically you can either defend in a myriad of ways for Moabs. With this strategy you can go for 2 double shots with distraction. That's not as consistent though, so you might need to boost or spike the Moab or buy a couple engineers, and even then it's not always consistent. Oh, our opponent dies. That's kind of unfortunate. Very greedy opponent. But as I was continuing, you can also just buy a Jitsu, which is, I think it's about the same price as two it's the same price as 2 double shots. However, it isn't as cost effective because just buying another Jitsu is, double shot is like 1.5k. So we're picking a different map here. Hopefully they don't go heli again so they don't choke. NG here is valid. It's pretty much meta. A lot of players can either go NG farm ninja, NG farm spike factory, NG farm heli. Those are the main 3 strategies. Some people go like NG farm boomer if they're grinding, but it's not very good. Okay, good. Our opponent is playing a different strategy. Dart Monkey is pretty good. What else to cover? So we're going to actually start with a sentry gun here because I want to be aggressive against this. Last game I was not aggressive because our opponent had the heli pilot, which is actually pretty good against early game. Like Red Bloons, it can solo as a 0-0, but Dart Monkey needs to upgrade to the tier 3 before doing anything effective. And as I mentioned before, you can spam farmers if you have enough, and you can kind of control where your sentries spawn, and I don't really want them to spawning on this left side of the map, so I'm going to be kind of controlling them here by placing a lot of my farmers. Okay, our opponent's okay. And he is sending blues. I'm going to buy faster engineering. It is group wounds, so you might want to buy 9-inch nails if they continuously send and you're starting to chase. However, faster engineering is cheaper, and Tick can get the job done if they do not send enough, especially since they can send paint balloons over the top, and you'll need to buy faster engineering anyway since you're going to be chasing. Let's go for our farm here. Against eco strategies, this strategy is pretty concrete, unless the eco strategy is very, very solid, like sub farm, not sub, sub super ice or something like that, where they can be basically passive the entire game and still have enough money to solo and defend. Okay, our opponent goes for a Spike-a-Pole. He's not got it on last, which is kind of unfortunate. I'm going to go for my 9-inch nails because we're actually getting sent group wounds, which is okay. Our opponent is getting his eco up and also trying to break our anti-stall. If you don't know what anti-stall is, that is kind of what the main goal of the strategy is, and it is where you try and pop the first layer or all of the balloons from AI, well, the natural balloons, before, like, how would you say that? Not before, but as quick as possible. So the round ends as quick as possible because only one side has to do it. And this can be effective against passive strategies or late game strategies or eco strategies. An example would be if he's playing Ninja, Mortar, and Glue, I would want to drain his money as best as I can. And I can do that in 3 ways, which is anti-stalling, rushing, and I guess boon adjustment if I had Cobra. And those are the main ideas of just trying to be aggressive. I'm going to send some whites here. Our opponent is being very greedy by going for that farm. And they're not being greedy enough by rushing us and trying to force our boon trap. So yeah, it's pretty good here. We perfectly afforded that, which is what we like to see. For our NG, not for NG, or for Ninja, I am thinking of putting it up here. Okay. Sometimes people do send rushes like that, but typically bigger, where they mix in a lot of zebras and then some rainbows over the top, and then pinks or yellows. And the goal of that rush is to actually overload the trap. And it depends on how the trap works. The trap is a interval, I would say. It spawns one instantly, and then it spawns another one instantly, and then third trap it spawns actually takes a few seconds to load. So the idea behind that rush, and a lot of other rushes, is to overload the first 2 traps so quickly that it doesn't actually have time to defend the third and fourth traps. I boosted there because I didn't have enough money to defend very actively. So it was a good rush from our opponent. It would be a bit better if they didn't boon rush. Boon boost it, because I think they would have been fine without it, since I think some stuff was getting by. But still a good rush. The trap spot doesn't really matter on this map. You can put it here if you want, or you can put it down here like I have it. And that's all pretty fine. Our opponent is a bit wary and a bit too overcautious right now. Placing down an ace without good reason is not always very nice and good for the opponent to do, because going for that is also overcautious. A never miss without like any good reason, especially when it's so expensive. It's like $3,000 to $4,000 just in that tower alone. Not very effective, I would say. Some people do rush heavily around 16, 18, 19, and 20, and then also 22. Those are major rushing round from many opponents because of the leads, the zebras, the rainbows, and also ceramics from like round 22 and 24, 25 as well. So I recommend just buying a second engineer. If they do start to rush, buy a double trap, and that's going to eat up a lot of the insides of stuff. And for round 22 and beyond, just get 1 extra trap or even 2. So you'll have 2 to 3 traps up. And this will eat up a lot of the insides and a lot of the ceramics. And our opponent here is rushing. So I'm going to buy this. I need a Sabo too. So I'm probably going to sell 2 farms. Let's spike it. I want to pop it really fast. So let's do this. Sabo, we sell the Sabo. Let's go for 2 ninjas. Okay, and then we buy this back. And let's start spamming 9-inch nails. We can always boost if that's needed. Do I need to? Or is this fine? I think I need to boost. Okay, I had to boost there, which is kind of unfortunate. Some people can defend, especially depending on the map. I think if I was able to stab a bit earlier, I would have been fine, but it's okay. So this is 4,000. So this is enough to make a factory. Okay, let's do that now. I wanted to wait a second just so I can make sure that I don't get rushed before the run starts. Because you get the money pretty fast because of this map, this run being so short. Okay, our opponent does send another. So let's try and buy up another Sabo. I do have money from selling this in a second, which is actually what I'm going to do now. Let's go for this. Let's go for another Jitsu. Our opponent is actually all outing us, it seems like. We can go for another Sabo soon. And don't be afraid to sell your farm. That can happen. It's boost. Do I have to Sabo here? I don't think so. Okay, good. Good cleanup. Okay, we Sabo again, and our opponent is all outing. So I want to go for a lot of these ninjas here. And also I want to keep rebuying and reselling my Sabo, just so I can always keep that up. And this is a time where you can actually use your sprockets to defend. Hopefully this works, right? I don't have any boosts, but that should be fine. There is leads incoming. Let me sell one and rebuy at the back, because that Sabo is about to end. Our opponent is all outing. I would recommend countering if you aren't confident in your defense. I am pretty confident right now. And that a Sabo? Yeah. And this should be fine. Make sure your targeting is alright. I might actually die here because my targeting is kind of fucked up. Actually, that's going to unsabo. Whoa, this is close. Am I dead? Hopefully not. There's a lead there. Oh, that sucks. He sent regrow leads. That's very annoying. But it's okay. You guys just got to be a bit careful than I was there. I would recommend just keeping up a trap. I definitely was a bit uncareful with my defense. Keeping a trap up can prevent stuff like that, where they send so many regal leads that your sabotage can't keep up at times. So that's very annoying, but it's okay. It's just progress and learning. I guess I'm just looking back on it right now. I or under defending at times where I was using my boost to greed. And I wouldn't recommend that for beginners, because boosting can be useful in situations like that where you're winning, but you can't skillfully defend at times. Like I could have, but I just failed at that, which is kind of unfortunate, but happens. Our opponent is going Dart Monkey once again. This is a pretty common and well-documented matchup, Dart Monkey versus Engineer. You can see people like Brian Chess versus AFG or Simba or Aquafire or Cecil or some random other popular and top players. Just playing this so often that it's basically become second nature. The best dart player currently, although he's kind of inactive, is Gold Sheep. He's inactive as he doesn't play really much anymore, and that's fine. A lot of dart gameplay is valid, especially from like years ago. You still find interesting ideas. Anyway, I'm ranting for no reason, and it's also about dart, not engineer. So ideas include going for Bloon trap, being aggressive, trying not to over defend or under defend, because you want to be incentivizing your opponent to rush you, and in that case you can make money from your Bloon trap, and also you also won't be dead if you are defending optimally, because sometimes you can buy a farm and then be caught off guard and you're gonna have to sell that farm or boost, and both situations is kind of undesirable. I'm sending blacks here because this one, my opponent isn't really using optimal dart spots. I would recommend here and on the red dots or red lines. This first dart spot is pretty good. First, not third. But still. I have a decent amount of farms actually. Our opponent should definitely be more aggressive. Sometimes you can only get one plantation depending on how aggressive you are. I'm not being super aggressive this game actually. And the reason is this map is very tricky, especially for a dart player. You need to have skills enough to defend boosted Moabs and choke rushes and stuff. And that is kind of the main goal of Engineer, because you're going to be sending choke rushes and trying to get your opponent low on lives, low on boost, or low on money. And that's just consistent without most of the Engineer strategies. So we're sending whites here, just trying to send enough to force defense. I don't think a single spikeable is enough. Okay, good. We did force a boost. Continue farming. I am under defending currently because I do not have a balloon trap. And this is only 1.4k, so I need 2.4k on hand. So I don't have that right now, so I'm just going to buy a couple engineers. I bought his sprockets because that's just general good defense if he sends me something. And I can go for it now. Let's see what he does. He goes for a bank, which is very greedy. I'm going to send a camo recoil. This is to abuse some people's lack of camo detection and warranty for that. And that catches them off guard, and they sometimes choke to it. Our opponent boosts, and it's probably going down. Okay, good. He bought camo detection. He had a boost. Really like that. I'm going to buy a balloon trap now, especially since the leads are coming in with round 15 and round 16. And our opponent did showcase last game, that he is very intent on rushing those rounds. This is probably a time where I want to go for a factory rather than actually rushing and into a BIA. And that is probably because this map is super short in terms of like damage length. A lot of your defense is going to be focused up here or down here. Same goes for right side, especially with the dart monkey. So we're going to try and mix our farms, eco, and managing defense. Okay, our opponent is greeting like hell. In a lot of situations, do not go for a round 17 BIA, especially with Dart Monkey when you're under defending this heavily. You'll see why in a second, because they're probably going to have to cash out or boost, but they do not have enough Dart Monkeys to boost. So this is death, most likely. Yeah, they need to sell. Yep, there we go. And they boosted, so that is 2 of the 3 things that we can get from our opponent to gain an advantage, and that is amazing. Our opponent is actually buying a plantation on their bank, which is not optimal right now, especially since it's so late in the game that you want a early bank with a BIA, not early bank, early BIA with a plantation rather than a late bank with a plantation. Our opponent could be sending a BFB one more time. I bought a cleansing foam for leads. Our opponent has showcased that he has a major interest in sending leads against NFE. So I might as well make profit out of that. I do have a extra spike in the back, so I shouldn't leak too many lives to this. And okay, leads, here they come. And rainbows too. So this is a choke rush. I'm actually going to sell and rebuy my balloon trap for this. That's just a lot of extra money that I can make. And I'm going to probably see a BFB in 3, 2, 1 BFB. No BFB? Question mark? Probably very soon. I'm not going to buy valuable bananas. I want to save up a little bit of extra money before then. Okay, I'll go for it now. And they went for BIA. which is good. I recommend that. I'm going to keep my Jitsu up just so I can handle round 22 pretty effectively and safely. A lot of people will send leads or zebras into round 22 to overload your trap and get you to choke, because it's going to be a very fast round. I'm going to send leads into our opponent's Juggernaut to try and block their defense, actually. And they actually died to this, right? Or are they able to defend? Okay, good job. They defended. Well done. Some people might be questioning why I didn't kill him with a second Moab, and you should have done that if you were in my situation and playing in arenas, but this is a private game, and I don't really care about losing or winning. I just want to showcase the gameplay and how to play this strategy. For a ZMG, which is probably the main issue that a lot of new players will have against, and even top players like me have struggle against ZMGs with this strategy because of how much damage it takes and how expensive the Jitsus are unknown. That you probably need 7 consistent attacking Jitsus to actually make a dent in the ZMG and BFBs. And that is going to cause an issue sometimes if you are low on money or you don't have enough money to counter. So yeah, I'll try and go over some of the defense ideas after this game. I'm gonna send a ZMG, I guess now. I want to try and prevent him from going to a factory. Okay, he went for a factory anyway, but it's fine. I'm gonna Bloon boost it, and this is gonna make it faster and more effective. Especially since if it's able to get farther in the map compared to how it would usually without the Bloon boost, then I'm saving myself money. And I'm actually gonna boost this because there was like 4 ceramics in there, and that's not very nice to see. I did have to boost, but I have 2 boosts left, and that's fine. You don't need too many boosts. You probably only need 1 if you're going against a high farm strategy, 1 or 2. But sometimes you don't even need any. Our opponent here is being super greedy and not even using a super monkey to defend, and I think they just go down. Yeah, they should have gone for either a tech terror, a sun god, or even trying to use the super monkey a bit more. Thank you, Poddick, for playing me. Yeah, let's go into Sandbox to try and demonstrate some of the defending ideas and maybe improve on some of the things that I already mentioned. And we'll probably just hop into offside here. So typically you'll have a Bloon trap up, maybe 1 or 2, and then a Jitsu, and probably another Jitsu, and this should be fine. Let's go to round 20. I could send in a few odds, but there's not really any point. Okay, let's go for a BFB now. You want to set these guys as strong while it's on the BFB layer. And the point is to damage that BFB layer as quick as possible and try and get as much damage in before the Moabs, because those Moabs are going to be speedy as hell. And you also want that extra time for distraction action. So when they pop the Moab, set them to first, I recommend, because that's going to allow you to actually damage the insides pretty effectively. So I do need a resabo here. It's kind of unfortunate, but it's fine. And the ninja stall slash flash bomb is also going to clean up very nicely and let your Jitsus do a lot of work. Sometimes you might need a bit more defense. You might need to place another flash bomb or a couple like more ninjas, or even use the engineers 9-inch nails for those cleanup, like you kind of saw me did in the live SML game, Super Monkey Lane game. We'll go to round, I guess 23 is a common round for like ZLGs. You'll typically have 2 Jitsus up already, and probably want to buy, well, not 2 Jitsus up, that's way too much, but you probably want to buy a decent amount. Make sure that they're able to hit the end so they can distraction action a lot of that ceramic buildup in the end. And I did recommend 7, so let me practice that and try and see if I'm actually able to do it with 7. Set it to run 23, I guess. Set 3 of these guys to strong. And you're probably going to need more than just a single Sabo. You're probably going to need like 3 or 4. Because this is going to last a long time. It's already prepared on 24. Just in case this round ends too soonly. And if you have enough money, I recommend just trying to buy 2 traps in the back, or even buying a couple sprockets here. And that's going to just help out with the cleanup. That's the main issue of NFE, is cleanup. So let's buy another sabotage here. I recommend just trying to keep it farther back as you go on, and just keeping aware of how long each ability is. So this is pretty good. Let's rebuy, sell that. There we go. And you can see how many ceramics are here, that your replacing of the 2 traps is just going to be so much money. I wonder if you can actually do it without 2 of these, so maybe 5 Jitsus on this map. So let's try this again on run 23. Keep in mind, this is only run 23. Run 23 is not never-ending, so you will need to actually afford some of this defense midway, because you're not going to have, what is this, 5k-ish for 1 Jitsu. So that's like 30,000 almost in defense right now, in Jitsus and Sabos alone. So some people do try and use Sprockets to replace the Jitsus, because Sprockets is only $2,500 almost total, and a Jitsu is like twice that amount. So you can get 2 Sprockets for the price of 1 Jitsu. But people don't like dealing with the sentries, so they only buy the Jitsu. This might actually be a bit annoying and close here, so I'm going to rebuy, not place a bomb, rebuy and place that there. And I don't think this is actually going to make it. Which one is set on strong? That's on strong. Okay, I'm going to buy a Bloon trap here. Just 1. Okay, maybe 2. Yeah, this doesn't defend with 5 without any Bloon traps. If we had 2 Bloon traps in the back, I have like no doubt that would actually defend. But yeah. So you probably want 6 to 7 Jitsus up consistently, and you probably only need 5 of boost. And yeah, just try and make sure that you're able to defend things. Late game, you're gonna need to just spam Jitsus and pray, and keep your sabotage up. If you get to round 33 or something like that, you should probably be full sending ZMGs. If your opponent is capable of defending, then you can't really do much against that. Like, Heli Farm Ice is a pretty solid counter to NFE. So you have to be super aggressive early game, rely on choke rushes, and yeah. Sometimes you can win, sometimes it's just a bad matchup. Alright, thank you guys for watching, and peace out. Check out my other videos if you enjoyed this one. I have Bolt Farm Mortar, Tag Farm Wiz, Dart Farm Wiz, NG Farm Spike, and a Cobra tutorial if you are interested in improving. And yeah, peace out. Make sure to hit the like and subscribe button if you enjoyed.